Okay gang, this is my video recording for the second part of using Autocad for logo creation, line art for DWG files that you would create to provide for a sign company for creating logos in metal, wood, foam, 3D. I do about 10% of my Autocad work this way. I'll create a logo for a client, typically a combination mark, which is a symbol and some text. And I'll create that in Illustrator, and I'm going to show you the process at which you can then export that and then import it into AutoCAD and do your simple single line drawing, which is a really important skill to know and to practice. So I'm going to show you that you can actually go out and, just for the sake of learning and drawing and practicing, you can go out to a website like brandsoftheworld.com, and I actually just typed in Pep Boys because I like these. I don't even know what these guys' names are. It's Larry Moe and somebody else. Logo artwork, and it's all vector based, so you could type in any company that you want. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if UPS has a logo in here. And nope, no UPS. It would be United Parcel Services. So let's check out. I'm trying to think of companies that have combination marks that are fun. That would be something that you could retrace or draw or learn to use that polyline tool to create logos in single stroke line work in DWG format. So let's do, I'm thinking here, what we can do. Something that has a symbol. I think we did Petco with one of the logos I provided for you. So here's PetSmart. And so if I was to search for a logo and they had the artwork there for me in brandsoftheworld.com, I can actually agree to and tell them that I'm not some robotic thing, and I can click download, and over here in my download folder would appear my EPS file or my artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and then I'm going to go into Illustrator because I did already download the EPS file of the Pep Boys logo. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do File Open. I'm going to go into my desktop and pick the Pep Boys, and so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to see my Pep Boys guys here. There they are. I'm going to make them bigger. So I'm holding down Shift Option just so I can make them a little bit bigger. Alright, and so now I'm going to go into here, into Adobe Illustrator, and I'm going to go ahead and do an EPS export or file export, and you're going to see that you can export it as a drawing, a DWG file. And I'm going to go ahead and export that to the desktop. And it's going to ask us for the versions and the formats, scale 1:1, PNG, fine, and exportable capability and outline text, which are all the defaults. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, for the sake of it, I'll just minimize it so you can see what's going on. And so let's take a look and see if we can find, there it is right here. Here's my DWG file. So I've gone ahead and opened up my colored artwork in Illustrator and did an export of it. And so now I can go into Open, and I'm going to go over to the desktop, and I'm going to grab my Pep Boys DWG file just so you can see what it looks like. And so when it opens, you're going to see it comes in just like this. So I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see how the artwork works. So there it is. Alright. Alright. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to add a new layer like we were doing before and do the redraw. I'm going to go ahead and lock my first layer. So I'm going to go in here, and just like we did in the previous, I'm going to click on the edge of his hair here. Oh, so let's make sure we're on the redraw layer. I'm going to go ahead and drop my point, right? So, oh, I didn't have the right tool selected. So let's do that again. Let's get in here with the correct tool selected. And so I'm going to start. And so, right, so my straight line, begin his hair, my arch tool, right? And I can go ahead and trace this. And go ahead and trace right on down this guy's. So let's go in here and change that to line again. And so you can see his head right there. Arch going. I just want to keep it very simple. Kind of keep his hair going. About there. Right, the longer the straight line, the bigger the arch. And so I try to keep as many distance lines as I can versus the short lines. And so let me hit the space bar, and you can see I'm starting to trace his head. And the key to this process is that you have to treat everything. And so let's zoom in a little bit. You have to treat everything like a shape. So I would actually want to trace the entire outside of his brow and loop around and do the inside of his brow, which you would have saw in my Starbucks logo. So each thing is an outlined shape, not a single line. And I just slowly and methodically work my way around this file, and that will give me the same artwork that I provided for you already from the previous video, which was some of the Starbucks and Bonefish and some of those others. So if we go into my logos that I drew for you already, you'll see things like Chuck E. Cheese. You'll see when I zoom in, let's go ahead and close that. You'll see that I traced him for you already. So let's go ahead and close that. And this is just the linkage file verbiage for the files, but you can see the artwork right there. I don't need the linked image because I created the artwork over the top for you. So I, in essence, made all these shapes for you. So if I was to select them, you can go ahead and make them white so we can see them. And I just did Command A for select all. And you can see my artwork for you. And all of the shapes and how I went inside and outside of everything. Every single line. I even did the letters for you down here, so you can kind of see how they are. And that's what you would want to do with the Pep Boys. You want to create everything as an individual shape and trace each thing, like you see with the letters. And you see how I have an inside stroke for the hand and an outside stroke for the hand. And I've created, in essence, a bunch of shapes inside of shapes. That's how the sign company will create the foam shapes, and they will build them up in 3D form, or they might bevel them out of wood. And so let's not save that. And so you'll see here on the brow that each one of these color shapes from Illustrator that I export as a DWG file have to be traced. So I have to trace along the outside of that. I got to trace around the outside of the brow. The inside of his mouth here is a shape that I would trace around, and then I would trace just inside of this shape and go all the way around. And in the end, you would have 3 guys. And so this process is a really important one. So for the sake of the creating a new line art, you could go to Brands of the World and download a couple of logos that have combination marks, symbols, and text, and then using the polyline tool, practice tracing both the illustration and a couple of the letters, just to give you practice creating those things. Really important steps of the process in AutoCAD for graphic design. Okay, gang, bye.